1 minute there, Mr. LeDuff.
Your cigarette, Mr. LeDuff.
Your light, Mr. LeDuff. Your beer, Mr. LeDuff.
Your robe, Mr. LeDuff. Find the air. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, shit. The power went out again.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's No BS News Hour with my main man, LeDuff. No bullshit.
Hey, y'all.
Power's back.
Shut up, man.
All right.
You just broke the... You're fired.
All right.
And get my robe dry clean. How are you, brother?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Charlie and Mark, how are you?
Let's get this thing rolling. I want to let you all know I began writing these thoughts by candlelight, on paper, in the darkness. The milk had curdled and the beer had gone warm. The power was out. Again, the wind blew a little bit last week and the rain lasted for 8 minutes here in Michigan. But the wind blew a little bit in Indiana too. Their power was back on by morning. You want the quote from DTE? Here it is. We apologize for our impacted customers for the inconveniences they faced last week that resulted from the severe weather. The thunderstorm that swept through southeast Michigan delivered sustained 60 to 70 mile per hour winds that toppled trees and damaged equipment. You'd think this was fucking Katrina. The extensive damage slowed our restoration due to the complexity of the repairs, which is pretty much get the fucking tree out of the way, pick the wire up, and stick it back on the pole. Come on. Don't bother consulting the DTE outage map because that also went down. Now, utility companies like to report how many customers are without power. So in order to convert that into actual people without power, you have to remove businesses and industrial accounts. So here's the simple formula. People without power equals customers without power times 0.9, which means approximately 90% of customers are actually households, times 2.45, which is the average number of people per household in Michigan. So again, Mark, again, customers, to convert that into people is customers times 0.9 times 2.45. Voila. That math means nearly 1 million people were without power. 1/10 of the state was in the dark last week. 1/10 on an 8-minute storm. It seems to me that we're putting the electric cart before the horsepower when it comes to the dream of the zero emissions future. Our current electrical system simply cannot handle today's needs. We in Michigan are hostage to one of the most unreliable grids in America with some of the longest downtime after the power goes down. Our cost per kilowatt hour, on the other hand, is higher than all surrounding states, top 10 in the United States. And DTE likes to tell us our bills are average. They are average in America. You know why? Because we're like 40th in the amount of electricity we use. It's so expensive and so unreliable. We are already conserving. So stop bullshitting us. Now, natural gas, you say? The loss of methane due to leaking pipes in Michigan is also among the highest in the United States. And unburned methane, you should know, is one of the most diabolical molecules contributing to global warming. I'll give you this number. A methane molecule will hold heat at 80 times the rate a carbon molecule will over 20 years. So think about that. You want to go to natural gas, our pipes suck, it's going into the atmosphere, and it's creating global warming. These are facts, people, but they don't tell you the facts. So what's being done to fix all this? It's obvious not enough. Utilities in Michigan are guaranteed, hear me here, are guaranteed a 10% return on investment in Michigan, no matter how well the investment works, whether it be a new gas-powered electricity plant or a troop of orangutans pedaling on bicycles. We still pay Wall Street whether it works or not. Michigan legislators, for their part, bums. They take millions from the utilities political action committees, as does the governor, and they all do nothing. DTE is currently grubbing, and I should also say consumers. That's the two main culprits here. DTE is currently grubbing for another 8.8% rate increase. Meanwhile, the trees don't get trimmed adequately from the power lines because that just doesn't earn the 10% vigorish. So fuck you. And the plan is to build the future grid on top of today's decrepit grid. This is the plan. Is there a plan? We're going to go to wind and solar. That's what the utilities executives proclaim. That's what you're getting out of Washington. That's what I'm getting out of Lansing. We're going to the future. Oh, they're doing that in California too. But wind and solar are unreliable. On the precious few days when the sun actually shines in Michigan, there's not enough industrial battery capacity to store the power. Think about that. You have solar panels on your house and it stores it in the battery. Those gigantic batteries don't exist. They don't exist. So if people are not consuming the wind and solar generated electricity in real time, the farms, these electric farms, they got to shut down lest they overwhelm the balky grid. That's a fact. I didn't know that, but I'm figuring it out in the candlelight, motherfucker. In the meantime, we should, and we continue down this path. We continue to divest in nuclear power, clean coal, which generates, that plus natural gas, 90% of our power. 90% of our electricity is gas, coal, and nukes. We're knocking out petroleum refining. We'll talk about the cars. Studies show that the electrification of transportation and other sectors of the economy may require a doubling of U.S. generation capacity of electricity by 2050. We got to double it. The only thing we know to be more predictable than power outages in Michigan are the vagaries of the energy market. Notice how the price of power has skyrocketed while President Biden finds himself overseas begging dictators and thugs to pump more oil. At home, Biden is offering $7,500 for electric cars that the grid may not be able to handle. It's fucking voodoo economics. Not political. It's voodoo economics. Look at Germany. Keep your eye on Europe this winter. This is stupid, man. We all want a clean, sustainable world. Everybody in the room, you want a clean, sustainable world?
Yes.
We all want a clean, sustainable world.
A lot of things I want.
Maybe. I like it hot. I got beachfront property. We all want zero carbon emissions. Of course we do. But we all want a kitty cat unicorn too. There needs to be a national infrastructure plan.
Yeah. Good luck.
Right?
Yeah.
What we should start doing locally is taking these power executives, put them on an electronic rocket ship, and send them to the sun. We'll be back after this from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. The top-rated realtors in Michigan have said that our 5-star certified pre-approval is a game changer to the home buying process. Hall Financial's focus on speed and client service allows you to take on the housing market and win. When you're ready to purchase your new home, you need to make Hall Financial your first call. The mortgage company realtors trust and buyers love. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us at callhallfirst.com.
Hey, Jesus hippie.
That's you.
Cigarette me.
Boy, you're getting used to that role, huh?
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Put it on your lips, put it on my lips.
It's like he's never lit a cigarette before.
Thank you, dude.
In the last 10 minutes.
Love you, bro. Hostile work environment, man.
That's a power imbalance.
That's bullshit. That was just a joke, man. This, in case you ever sue me, Your Honor, it was just a bit. Where's Karen? I can't see. Is she here today?
Karen's here.
I'm right here.
I love.
I'm
the
right
shirt.
here. I'm listening.
I love this.
I'm
shirt.
watching. Thank you. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank you,
you know,
Charlie.
here's what we're gonna do, Karen. We got a big wig power executive. The guy knows everything about the grid, about the future, like where we're going. Of course, you know, big money people are vindictive, so, you know, we're going to call him Paul the Power Man. Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah.
Believe me, it's an honor to have me here. There's like, in the journalism business, as you know, Karen, like you gotta have the sources. You know, you do your work. So I try, like in, you know, public safety, to have some sources. And, you know, power is a huge deal. This is an epical thing they're trying to make society do. So you got to know somebody in Washington dealing with the futures market. You got to know somebody that actually understands how energy is transmitted and how it's pumped out. And, you know, you got to know somebody that's compiling the data. So Paul is such a guy.
Charlie, you got a lot of sources. Good. I mean, you have a lot of sources, and those sources are valuable to the information that that you bring to the listeners and viewers. So I'm looking forward to Paul the Power Guy.
Yeah, well, it's we the people. So again, this is apolitical. It's like you really want to remake American society, and there doesn't appear to me, we're going to ask Paul, there doesn't appear to be a plan. Prices are going through the roof, right? The world's at war. Like, look what's going on in England. They're worried, man.
Yeah.
They're not going to have...
All of Europe, too.
Yeah. Germany. Mm-hmm. And what'd they do? They decided to make the leap because some 16-year-old Swedish kid is like, save the Dolphins. The Swedish kid is absolutely right, but the Swedish kid gets on a jet and flies to Rio to give a speech. You could have done it by Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, don't worry. I planted a tree, so it's all even.
Offset, yeah. Which is, offsets are bullshit.
So we're going to have Paul. And then, by the way, hey, my brothers and sisters in Flint, you know, show number 1 of the No Bullshit News. What show are we on now?
205, I believe.
You notice how we didn't do a special 200 show anniversary? Because that's for douches. We just keep on moving. Hey, Flint, it's over. Yeah. It's over. No justice. The case is dead. Andy Arena, the former head of the FBI, the man that put Kwame Kilpatrick in prison, the guy that put the Gambino family in prison, the guy that put Trafficant in prison in Ohio, was the lead investigator. It's over. He's spilling his guts. We'll bring that at the end of the program. Stay tuned. You fucked. Don't believe him. Why did my screen go out?
Because I'm switching it so you can see stuff.
Oh, he's switching it. That's why you get paid that's why you get paid the nickels, bro.
Exactly.
You just think we'd have
Hopefully
two
I'll
screens.
have 2 to rub together. Yeah, I know. Well, we have one with nothing on it, so that's fun.
Okay, so you know, look, before we let me just tell you about our sponsors. We'll get to that. And, the Queen is dead, and yes, there's a connection to American Coney Island.
That's crazy.
There's always a connection to American Coney Island, and we'll tell you what really happened at Lafayette. I told you. I told you, dumbasses. I didn't.
A long time ago,
I just told you. I didn't want to say. I'm just like, I'm not saying.
But Charlie, why is everybody acting like this? That's like they're so surprised. I mean, everybody's been there. Everybody's gone to the bathroom. I mean, and I'm not just talking about them, but I mean that, you know, who in restaurants on a regular basis? You can go to any restaurant in the city of Detroit. I see dirty vents. I see all kinds of stuff. Why is everybody acting so surprised?
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, we're getting the cart in front of the horse. I already used that with this today.
Okay.
But every restaurant, there's a bug. There'll be a vermin. You know, every restaurant's required to spray and clean and mitigate. I mean, it's food, but you expect them to do the work.
Yeah.
Now we're finding out, well, where's all the health inspections? Why aren't they online? Why is the floor over there collapsing? You know it's bad when the city comes in and slaps a red sticker saying cease and desist.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
But they were responding to the social media outcry, Charlie. Come on. I mean, would they have done that anyway? I mean, if they were inspecting it, they would have known.
That's a fair point, but at least I guess they responded when there was a complaint.
Well, here's the inside. They did know, and they did inspect, and it continued. And I like those guys over there, and I want it to continue because y'all know we keep losing a little bit of ourselves in this state. It's all falling to hell. It's more than just a coney. It's a place to be. And I'm going to be honest with you. As this place gets rougher and rougher, people get more afraid to be here. So you need a place where you can hold on to the city, a place where you can go. So these places are more than just a place to eat. They're like a piece of you.
Yep.
And I don't want them to disappear. I want them to fix it.
Yeah.
So you never heard me tell you exactly what was going on. But yes, the city's all over the place. They came to American. They did the full inspection. They came they just keep coming. Nothing.
But that's a different
Grade
kind
A.
of thing, Charlie.
Grade A. I'm telling you. As the maintenance man here, I'm telling you.
It's no joke.
No joke.
No, you've been telling me that for a while. Yeah.
It's a great place. So we'll get to that. But let me tell you what else is great. ADR is great. They're experienced. They're competent, honest, ethical, smart, overseeing more than $250 million in public and private construction projects since 2001. And maybe my good friends out of Lafayette will call them up to get those joists put in the floor before it collapses and everybody falls through. Right? They should call Barry Ellen Tuck. I told them. 248-318-9424 for that consultation. Get the job done right, on time, on budget. ADR Consultants. And they know Detroit. They know how to move through it. 248-318-9424. Also, I told you, Legacy Partners, insurance. I told you I was going to get together with them. I got together with them yesterday.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Really good. Yeah.
Come over to my house. They came over. The insurance man came over to my house. You know why I want them to come over to my house? I want you to look at my house. I want you to ask me, what equity do I have in my house? I want you to look at the big, gigantic black walnut over my garage and then explain to me how my garage is covered by my current my current insurance, and my Mustang is insured because, if the tree falls, it fixes the garage, but it doesn't fix the Mustang. But I got the Mustang gets crushed by the tree insurance, but I don't got it on my Harley.
Really? Wow.
And we all know, brothers, sisters, we love our bikes. You crush my bike, you crush me.
It's true.
I like my bike. I like Ike, but I like my bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
They're good dudes, yeah.
Very good. Kurt, the guy that I'm telling you about Medicaid, Medicare, that's the guy you're supposed to call, get yourself set up with your parents. He brought young dude. We're done. He's I'll get it done tonight. I go, it's cool, bro. Take your time. My wife likes him. Yeah. My wife can't get in touch with our insurance broker. It pisses her off. She's got his cell phone.
Yeah, I have my guy from Legacy's cell phone too. So
And you saved,
I love it.
You saved thousands.
Yeah, a couple grand. No joke.
Here it is right here. 586-209-4106. 586-209-4106. Legacy Partners Insurance. Hold on a second. That might be my quote. It's Malik Shabazz.
Oh.
The Black Panthers who were protesting Lafayette. Where you at, Malik? Oh, I'm on the show here. I was going to say, come on up, man.
So this is live news.
It is, yeah. This is literal breaking news.
Because I know you do a lot of stuff there, and I didn't want anybody thinking that, y'all sent me or I was paid or,
Oh, I was surprised, bro. I was just, you showed up and I'm trying to listen to what you were saying.
Food for my family. I go spend $50, $60, but
You're on the air, by the way. You're on the air. Okay, anyway, why don't you just hurry up and come on down here, man? Power to the people.
I can't. I got mothers and.
You got to see the doctor about that stutter.
Yeah. Can we make another date?
Dude, I don't date Black Panthers, bro. You guys are too tough for me, man. Yeah. Next week we have you come on, all right, brother?
Okay, next week.
Yeah, and bring some of that African hair product. I like that. Tastes so good, that shit.
Charlie.
Okay.
Remember when I put that in my mouth on your show, man?
Yes, sir.
Whoa! Activator's not good for the tonsils, bro. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll see you next week, brother.
Okay, brother.
Okay. Well, right there was no
So
funny
where
business.
were they protesting, Charlie? I mean, I know that just what was the basis of the protest?
Hippie, you were down there. What were they protesting? Yellow journalism. What?
What?
Oh, they were protesting the quality of the food, beating up homeless black guys. I'm gonna say this is a heavy corner, man. I mean, this is the heart of Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody comes here. This ain't the Detroit Athletic Club. This is not Comerica Park. This is Detroit.
Everyone knows this corner.
Everybody comes here. This is a really look. I've worked in L.A. I've worked in New York. I've lived there. This is one of the best corners in America. It's really interesting. Everything drifts by here.
Yep.
Just keep the place clean. But you
It's
know
the
what's funny?
it's the intersection of Detroit life, Charlie. You're absolutely right. You can sit there and see everything and everybody you can.
Isn't it, Carrot? I mean, it really is.
Yeah, it
really-
is.
It's not campus marshes. It's here. That's why I like to be here. You know, also for journalism, it's like the city comes to me.
Yeah.
You know, people tell you it's
Every creed, every color, every age.
yes.
Everyone knows this area.
So this is the peace zone. This is the green zone,
Internationally known.
and it's hard to hold it down. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish them well. Fix it. Get back up online and learn a lesson here.
Yeah.
But they got like 5 partners over there, so they bicker. I could go. I'm gonna write about this for next week.
Good.
I'm gonna write about it. But like American Coney Island, #1, Queen of England eats here. Oh, did I skip it away? Wait a minute.
She's
Before we
not
get-
eating anywhere now.
Before we get to yeah.
Hey, come on, Karen.
Oh, Karen, too soon.
I'm just saying.
I'm just joking.
You guys don't got headphones on.
making sure
Karen
that
goes,
the-
well, she's not eating anywhere now. Oh. What do you got against colonialism, Karen? I mean, come on.
You got to check Black Twitter and Irish Twitter for
She
that.
never
They
did
were-
apologize
they
for
were
them
crazy.
taking over the world and, just raping everybody's shit.
Yeah.
Nope.
Somebody
Sure
gotta
did.
do- I hope Charles does it with them big ears of his. Okay, give me some music. Associates Inc.
Rated.
Go ahead, Mark.
And operated.
Overreaction is not a strategy for the long-term investor.
Secure. I don't know all the lyrics. It's called Luke Nowacki.
Improv, bitch, improv.
Mark, you look like you're in pain.
No, that's my soulful eye closed thing. That's what I feel when I think about Royal
Do the
Alliance.
white boy overbite while you're doing it.
Right?
Yeah.
How's that?
There you go.
Boy,
All right, overreaction is not a strategy. Hey, Karen, by the way, did you get a hold of Kid Rock?
he responded to my text message, but he responded with a picture of his latest grandson. So
Is he coming on?
But
He's being in
I don't
town
know.
next week. Come on now.
I know, and I'm going to ask him again, but he was preoccupied with that. But it's crazy because people are texting me saying, "Can I meet Kid Rock next week?" It's like, I'm not his handler. Like, if you want to meet him, go to the concert and hang out by the stage like everybody else.
Can you give me tickets?
I'm not a bitch. I'm not hanging by those backstage doors.
Well, you know him, Charlie. I'm talking about other
I used to
people
know
are
him.
asking.
Apparently, I don't know him at all now. You appear on Tucker Carlson, and you're too good for me. Okay, fine. All right. That'll be me, kid, in row 4 going
Remember
with the
me?
overbite. I'm going to get these things as white as Biden's teeth so he can see me.
And blind them.
Listen here, overreaction is not a strategy for the long-term investor. Neither is burying your head in the sand and hoping it all turns out for the best. That's why I call Luke Nowacki Pinnacle Health. Y'all know that. 248-663-4748. Nobody on this program, if I don't know you and we don't believe in your product, you're not on this show.
Amen.
We don't need money that way. We don't take political advertising. But for you, this is no joke. Luke Nowacki helps me with my investments. I recommend him. I do. 663-4748. Hey, Luke, did you get the money together to send us to the border next month?
Ooh.
Yes. The
Which
border.
border, Charlie?
Here's what I got planned. I'm going into Mexico. I ain't going deep into Mexico. I've been deep into Mexico. You don't need to see. I'm just going to go right on the other side of the river, and I'm crossing with everybody. And I want to see if the fucking cartel motherfucker going to tell me I owe him 800. You ain't getting shit, bitch.
Wow, I want to see that.
It's my fucking country.
Come on, Luke, get it together then.
Are you gonna
No,
take
man, I
Malik
ain't
with
paying
you?
you shit. What
Are you
gonna
taking
do,
Malik
shoot
with
me?
you, Charlie?
Then shoot me. So you shoot me, and then you can see what it's really like on the border, because you all got no idea. I'll remind you, in 2001, when El Chapo was running shit, I crossed that border with the Sinaloa cartel. I covered that shit for 10 years. It's no joke what's going on, but you really don't get to see it. So get that money together, Luke. All right, good. Okay. Finally, before we get to Paul the Power Man, you got to listen to this. He's really going to tell you. This is apolitical. This is the guy that knows. But before that, finally, from our dear sponsor, American Coney Island. God save the Queen's soul. Goodbye, Elizabeth. A good public servant.
Yeah.
She was a good public servant. Again, yeah, I'm an American. We don't have a king and queen. You do in Canada, I mean, but
That's right, yeah.
good luck. Good luck to you. Respect to your culture. But even the Queen eats American Coney Island. Here's some tape from the vault. Let's roll that.
At American, they accepted the award graciously, but I suspect the biggest honor they've ever received was the time a white limo pulled up outside.
And a chauffeur came in and got some conies to go, and we asked them who they were for. And the King and Queen of England were visiting Windsor at the time. And they actually sent over here for Coney Island.
You know, I'd pay good money to see the Queen eating one of these with her hands. In the colonies, this is Pierre Kimsey, TV2 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Pierre.
So good enough for the Queen. You know what I mean?
That was cool. That was really neat.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
This place is
Everyone knows it.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you know that the first speakeasy in Detroit was in the basement of American Coney Island? Did you know that 2 years before Prohibition, National Prohibition,
Yeah.
Michigan outlawed alcohol? And so this was a shoe shine shop.
Okay.
And Grace Carroll's grandfather, Gus, opened to speak in the basement that very month and some card tables. And when he had landed at Ellis Island, he went to Coney Island, Brooklyn, saw the lights, saw the Ferris wheels, saw the hot dogs. So he started doing the hot dogs, and Greeks put meat sauce on everything. So he created the Coney dog so gamblers didn't have to get up from the table. He's the Earl of fucking Sandwich of Detroit,
yeah.
and that is the truth.
That's really cool.
That is the truth.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
That's
And,
really cool.
Yeah. And clean health report here, too.
It's like good maintenance, man.
And clean bathrooms too, Charlie.
Say it again, Karen. Say
They
it
are.
again.
The restrooms are clean. I mean, you can tell the level of excellence of a facility and somebody's home by using their restroom. Seriously.
Right? I mean, my dear old friend, Tony Bourdain, famously said, if that's what they're showing you, right, in a grimy joint, imagine what they're not showing you.
God, that's so true.
And like when you walk in here and this is what you see, this is what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, we work hard.
I've been in that basement here. It's very clean.
Dude, I mean,
Super clean.
this structure
This is really
scary.
clean.
is 150 years old.
I know. It looks really cool, but it's clean as
It's
hell.
the only brick
Man.
stuff down here. When you come down here, it's brick.
Yeah.
It's 19th century.
Yeah.
You got to maintain it.
But it's clean.
It's very
That's
clean.
the
And it's
difference.
very
It's
delicious.
clean.
And
No holes in the floor
these
of this
dogs
building.
you cannot buy at the store.
Yeah.
This chili you cannot buy at the store. It's all made for here. Man, we're going all off. This is a show about the advertising. Wow. Motherfuckers, your rates getting raised. I realize how much we're getting ripped off here by these advertisers of ours. I'm just joking. But the Super Bowl gets 100 million people, and a commercial is $4 million for a minute.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's 25 cents a person. If we've got on all platforms right now 100,000 people, hey, wait a minute.
I don't know. You've already done too much math for my head today. The power.
You're going to like
I'm
this
dumb.
now with the power, man. All right, without any further delay, Show me the silhouette, if you would, of the Power Mac. Paul, can you hear me?
I'm here, Charlie.
Let me ask you something, dude. So you're really involved in big energy, right?
That's correct.
Okay. What fucking happened last week? It rained for 8 minutes, and like almost 1 million people are without power, and 48 hours later, 500,000 people that still don't have power. What's going on in Michigan?
Well, we're feeling the lack of maintenance on tree trimming and line replacement.
So it's like I said, I mean, it's because it doesn't make money. Is that right? Is that why we're not trimming it? Because our bills are like high.
It doesn't make us money.
Oh, hold on. It doesn't make us money. For you guys without the headphones over here, it doesn't make us money. That's why we don't trim the trees, and that's why we don't replace the lines in a timely fashion. Mm-hmm. What were you going to say, Paul?
To a point. I mean, when the power's on, the cash register's running. So, you know.
What do you mean?
Well, when the meter's turning, we can charge for that.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So we do want the meter turning.
Of course you do, but like, why aren't we investing in the basic maintenance?
Because we're not forced to.
Because we're not forced to. Motherfucker.
And who would force us to?
Great question.
Whose responsibility to force us to, Paul?
Yeah, Paul, who's rough riding, who's got oversight, who's supposed to make the utilities function as a first world entity?
Well, that would be the Public Service Commission.
Oh, you mean the ones that keep just raising the rates and don't demand anything out of these companies? That very same commission?
You said that I didn't.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No.
Boom. Okay, people, non-political, you heard it. It don't make money. We're getting fucking ripped off. Now, let me ask you this, Paulie, because, you know, you are nationwide. Correct. Are we ready for the electric future? Are we ready to shut down coal plants by 2030? Are we ready for GM and Ford to be all electric by 2030? Do we have in America the capacity to generate and deliver electricity?
Absolutely not.
Ooh.
We're not even close. We're not even close to being ready for that.
What do you mean? So tell us what is needed, and then tell us why we don't have it.
Well, we need to be able to take care of the demand that we have now. And look what's happening in California. They're having rolling blackouts because it got a little warm out. And they're going to mandate that everybody drives an electric car, which is going to add to that demand. So what we have to do is beef up our infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, before we add the demand.
So look, why is the price of energy going up? Is it because we're generating less power?
It's because of the way we're generating power, the way we're being forced to generate power. So the price of energy is going up because we're being forced to shut down coal plants and nuclear plants. So we have to come up with other ways to generate power, which are not as efficient or reliable as the way we have been generating power.
So it's basically the Germany problem.
It's going to be.
So let's look at it. Let's do a little deep dig in here. I think people might be interested, right? Right, Mark?
Oh,
Since your power goes out all the fucking time.
Yes.
And this is like an epic. This is huge what they're doing to human nature and the way we're going to behave and survive.
Sure.
Okay? So if this doesn't work, we got big problems. Let's take, Paul, I know a little something, enough to be dangerous. Monroe has a coal-fired plant. It's one of the cleanest in the world. It's one of the largest in the world, correct?
That is correct.
And they want to close that down by what, 2030?
Well, that was what the federal government initially said was they wanted shut down by all coal plants shut down by 2030.
But that's like over 30% of our fucking power.
That's right.
So in 8 years, you want to cut out the source of 30% of the power. What do we got to replace it, Paul? Today, right now, what's the plan?
I haven't seen the plan.
You? I would
No.
really love to tell them, you know, how prominent you are. You're just going to have to trust me. And if you think it's bullshit, you go to Joe Rogan. I don't give a fuck. But we don't have the capacity. We don't have any plan and anything in place to replace 30% of our power.
Correct. And that's just one of them that's being shut down.
Yeah, we just shut down the second to last nuclear generating facility on the west side of the state just a couple months ago, right?
That's correct. So what they're telling you is we're going to increase demand, and we're also going to shut down what's currently powering 90% of the power we use. So the 10% that we're using now is going to increase to be able to take care of 100%, including the new percentage of power demand that we're getting with EVs.
Man. So it is correct what I wrote that, you know, by 2050, we're going to have to double electricity generation. And yet you're telling me there's no master plan and you would be involved in such plans. There's no master plan to make that so.
Nothing.
So this is some bullshit election year, PR, crappy not thought out.
No, kicking the can down the road, make it someone else's problem, just elect me because we all want it, just like we all wanted the unicorn kitty.
And like Paulie's saying, like we can't manage our grid now.
Yeah.
In California, we can't even produce enough power now. This is really serious.
But that's what's funny. I appreciate the future stuff. I just don't want my power going out now when I pay for it. Why is that so hard, Paul? Why is it just simply not enough trees being cut? It seems like it's more than that.
Well, it's also replacement of lines. You know, there's a lifespan on everything. So it's the replacement of lines, and it's also, you know, maintaining clearance so that when the wind blows, it doesn't knock trees on top of power lines. But we're talking about two different issues here.
Yeah, we don't worry about it. We'll roll with it.
Okay.
You're saying, Karen?
But let me ask you this, Paul. I mean, these are people, you or your colleagues, or they're in the business of providing, managing power, its distribution, strategy for growth, and all those things. I mean, everything always seems to be reactionary. If in fact, you know, isn't there some type of forecasting or projections that are taking place and saying, hey, you know, as these wires and the infrastructure starts to age, we have to do A, B, and C. Like, what are these people doing if they're not figuring out how to adjust to the changes and then making the necessary changes to be able to adapt to potential growth? Like, what is everybody doing?
Well, Karen, they are doing it, but they just started doing it. So, you know, it's been delayed, I guess, if that's the best way for me to explain it to you.
That is unacceptable.
It's fucking outrageous. So,
I mean, it is. That makes no sense.
It's okay. Let's try this. I do want to do it. Sorry, guys. You know I'm a nerd, man. I'm a nerd. Yeah. But when I got a guy like this, I got to go there. Let me go back to Monroe. That we want to close it down. Like, help me, Paul. Like, how they're almost at zero emissions at that thing. They put in like catalytic converters on these smokestacks. They almost got rid of like all the sulfur, all the carbon. It's a pretty clean facility. How many houses, or like, how do you measure, like, what kind of output does that place just itself put out for the state of Michigan?
Well, the Monroe Power Plant itself can power a fifth of the state, a fifth of the population.
A fifth of the population.
That's correct.
Okay, one plant, and it's just one.
Correct. There's many in the state.
It powers 1/5 of the human beings in Michigan, and it's supposed to close if the government gets its way in 8 years, and there's no way to replace the energy for those 2 million people?
Well, they're telling you it's going to be wind and solar, but
Wind and solar. It's going to be wind and solar. It's sunny 90 days out of the year in Michigan. So I know we're on a grid. We're on a whole circuit, right? It's everything on the Mississippi plus Manitoba and maybe Alberta or Saskatchewan. I'm not sure. But we all share power.
that's correct.
Okay, so like if it's blustery in the Great Plains, that energy will go on a circuit and we can use it. But if it's not hot here and we're not using our air conditioners,
We can share it.
we can share it. But if it's not
sell it.
if it's not being used on the whole circuit, you got to shut down the farm. Is that correct?
For a wind farm or a solar farm, you have to store it.
But there's no capacity really to store it. Am I wrong there?
Now, currently, there's not adequate capacity.
There's not adequate capacity when it actually is sunshiny in Michigan to store it. Wow. The batteries aren't big enough. They haven't invented them.
Well, maybe that's the hope. They'll invent them in magically.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo. Okay. So how many, Paul? Look, I know you specialize in the Great Plains in California, and then I know you're all over the place. But do you know how many windmills we have in Michigan? Let's say
Right around 1,500 in the entire state, if you're counting the Upper Peninsula. as well.
1,500. We got 1,500. Like I got a shack in the thumb. I see those 1,500 across Michigan. How many houses would though? How many people? However you want to measure it. How many people get power from those windmills?
If they're all running at full efficiency,
All the time.
All
Full
the time.
efficiency, all the time, which they're not, of course.
it would power approximately 340,000.
340,000 homes?
Customers.
So let me do my math. I gave it to you at the beginning of the show. 340 times 0.9, which is 90% of customers are people. And each household has 2.5 people. 850,000 maybe?
That sounds about right.
Okay. Jesus, dude. No, you don't know how to do math. Did somebody take out their calculator for me?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, do it right now. So it's 340,000
340,000
times
0.9.
2.45. That's how many people in the household.
Times 2.45.
Times 0.9, which is 90%
Times
of
0.9.
customers are households.
About 750,000. 749,700.
Okay. So you take all the windmills, and they're going all the time,
Yeah, that's not
which
that
they're
much.
not, right?
Yeah. This.
And they're delivering 1/4, 30%, 1/3 of the capacity of one
Monroe.
clean coal plant in Monroe.
Wow.
Is that right, Paul? Does that sound right to you?
That's correct.
What the fuck?
So
No.
who's running this? Something this doesn't make sense.
It's not that, but it's also holding their feet to the fire, right?
Putin's running this. That's who the fuck's running this.
What a joke.
Dude, no, it's not a joke. This is
No, I know, but
everybody get hip.
so frustrating.
I know this ain't the greatest rock and roll show to be driving up north and stuff, but like now you know. And you can double check it. Nobody's challenging. Paul, am I wrong?
No, it's public information.
Okay. Hey, Paul. Oh, what the fuck is Malik again?
Oh, no.
No, stop it, Malik. Next week, bro. Other things to protest. Take it easy.
But what should people do? I know you said the commission is responsible for holding the utility companies, holding them accountable. But what can consumers do? Because I think a lot of people feel helpless, like they're just left to the whims of the energy companies, and whatever they decide to do, we just have to accept it. What can or should we do?
Well, I can tell you that there has been an immense amount of pushback, and so the Public Service Commission is forcing the utility companies in this state to make improvements. But I would say you could also contact the Service Commission. You're going to be one of probably millions.
All right,
at this
I'm
point.
cutting this short. Fuck off. We're not, nothing. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
It's all performative bullshit. Say it, Karen. The narrative. There's nothing. You sit in the dark, asshole. What can you do? Buy a generator.
Buy a generator.
I got a.
I did.
I know, right? I
Get a
got
big
one
one.
from my mom.
Get a big one to power your
Hey,
new-
Mom, how you doing? I'm okay, honey. I like candles.
Jesus.
My mom likes to think it's like she's living in, like
Little house in the prairie.
Little House on the Prairie. You're
Oh,
like,
God.
that just reminds me of my great grandmother. Every time the power goes out, my mom's telling me they used to cut flannel and wipe their hind ends with it, and then they'd wash it by hand.
But that's not now.
Yeah, but she likes it.
Ugh.
So here's what you do. Here's what you do, Karen. You just like it. You're gonna
Hey,
like it. That's what you're gonna do, people.
We put in a Generac. So as soon as it goes out, 2 seconds later the power kicks back on, and I have a portable one if anybody wants to buy it. The
So
garage has never been
that's all
unpacked.
That's all kicked into your house, right? Like you got one of those.
Yep.
Power goes down, generator goes on. Yeah. If
Yep.
you don't mind, you can ballpark me, right? I want to do your personal business. What does that cost?
That's okay.
What's that cost?
About 18,000.
18,000.
Wow.
Okay. Maybe in this Inflation Reduction Act, you can give me $7,500
Buy a generator.
to buy a generator, which, by the way, burns gas, which is a really bad way to make electricity, isn't that right, Paul?
That's right. Karen, I have a question for you. Did you size it for your mandated full electric vehicle?
Oh, fuck.
I don't have an
did you
electric
guys hear that? You don't got headphones.
Your future,
Paul's like,
your
did
future
you
mandated
get
electric
the generator for your new electric
Yeah,
vehicle?
I don't want
Because you don't
that.
replace that
I'll-
shit every 5 years. I'm sorry, I'm talking over
Yeah,
you.
I don't.
You
I don't.
didn't.
I don't want that.
Look at Karen's face. She just went, fuck. Just shit the bed. You go home and tell Tim, man, you dummy. Why did you think of this? Wow. Hey, Paul. Okay, Paul, last question. Should we, to get an idea of what might happen in the future if we don't get our shit together, should we be looking at Europe this winter to see what's happening?
Absolutely.
Is that going to give us a good idea of where we're headed?
Sure. You could also watch California. They're coming with their mandate.
They got I used to live in California. Their grid's worse than ours. But their grid doesn't go down because the wind blows. Right?
That's correct. It goes down because they can't meet the demand.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the infrastructure's not bad, but they're not mining the high transmission lines. What are the big ones in the country that you see on the highway that are on those like radio towers?
Mm-hmm.
How much electricity flows through there?
230,000.
230,000
volts.
And then they get to a substation and they transmit that into what? They go from
At a station, it goes down to about 40,000 volts.
40,000 volts.
And then it goes into a substation, and it would be transformed into, in this area, it'd be either 4,800 or 13,200.
So let's just say 5,000 for people, right? 4,800. So the line on the telephone pole into that cylinder, that line going in the cylinder is 4,800 volts.
Yeah, that's the low end. Yeah.
Okay, that's the low end. And then that cylinder transforms that transformer into 240 coming into my house.
Correct.
And then the box in my house splits it into 110.
Well, it's two lines of 110 divided.
Right. Okay. So the last word here, I'm going to say, you can come. You all kiss my ass when you're telling the line workers to go faster. This shit'll fry you. You don't gotta go fast, bro. We respect you.
Appreciate that, John.
I hope you know those guys, and you're very high up in this. But if you're ever on the blocks with people, you let them know for us. Big respect, and I know they're working as fast as they should.
The boots on the ground appreciate that, Charlie.
Word them up, man. Did they wear rubber on the bottom of their boots? How do you not get electrocuted picking up a fucking 240 or 4,800 volt line? What do you do?
Dielectric boots and dielectric gloves.
Really? I mean, really? You just hoping the boots and the gloves work, and you're going to grab that one. You don't have like a rubber pole with like a
hot sticks, and there's other tools that are used in that type of work.
All right, well, y'all got our respect. Thanks for giving us your time, man. It's really appreciated.
Sure, Charlie.
All right.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Paul the Power Guy.
Thank you.
What's the sum total here, Mark and Karen? What did we just hear there?
We're screwed.
That we're screwed.
Yeah. And that
I don't think we're screwed.
Well,
wait, hold on. Hey, Paulie, get back on.
I'm on.
Oh, there we go. Paulie, what's the solution? Like, my thought is this. We do actually got to pivot and make the move from fossil fuels. Do you believe that the interim, the immediate future, the midterm, we should be going hybrid?
Absolutely. For now, we need to rely on hybrids, and then once the infrastructure is there, is built, then we can switch to full electric. But right now, just saying we're going to do it by this date, there's going to be major problems. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So, what American car makers making a really good, really reliable hybrid vehicle? Anybody know? Because I don't know of one.
Ford has a hybrid. The Maverick they just came out with. They have, I believe, the F-150 they're producing in a hybrid mode. So those are the ones that I know of.
So there you go, Karen. There's something you can do. No, seriously, there's something you can do. You can. Well, let's face it. I mean, our electricity comes from fossil fuels. I mean, except nuclear, which I think is a good solution. And if you actually listen to
nuclear's great, yeah.
And if you're listening to like people on the left and environmentalists and stuff, like
it gets a bad rap because
I mean they're coming around. Yeah, they're coming around here.
Yep.
I'm gonna get a scooter.
Yeah, you and Red. I'm gonna get a donkey. But you know how much. What is it when you fart? What is that, methane?
Yeah, they produce a lot, don't they?
They sure do, but it's good for your garden. See,
groovy. Look at you.
All right. All right.
Thank you,
Lay
Paul.
it, Paul. Go back to work.
Thanks.
All right, look at here. Here's we're going to do the news roundup and get out of here, all right? All right. Here's the news roundup. Matt DePerno, the Republican candidate for Attorney General. Sorry, guys. You notice how if you support him, great. Look, if you support him, great. It's just me. Vote for who you want. We're brothers and sisters. Notice how he's not talking about the stolen election of 2020 anymore. Yeah. Notice that? That was his whole thing of getting there. And now that he's there, it ain't going to work. Yep. Because we in the room who are independents, you got to win us over. And we don't want to be trifling about no 2020.
Exactly.
We want to know what you do. And you got shit in front of the Attorney Grievance Commission. What happened? Did you bilk? Did you bilk clients? Are you going to get charged on the voting machine
tampering
scandal? Who knows? I mean, but dude, how goofy. Guy called me up, and I'm not even going to tell you what we're talking about, but he couldn't even get it done on his own. And I'm not helping you. Ooh. And then you got Christine Caramo, the one running for Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Now her husband's like, yeah, man, she's trying to kill the kids and shit.
Yeah.
She don't even know how the election system works.
Which is
and then she's trying to plant some bullshit story about me threatening her at a parade when you came up there and you faked it. Yeah. Fake fucking news.
We all
and
saw
then
the video.
Jocelyn Benson, the current Secretary of State, I'm worried about terrorism at the polling. All right, well, what's your solution? Nothing. I just wanted to convene a press conference and say I'm worried about terrorism.
Yeah, freak people out.
I'm gonna clean up the fucking rolls. That's what we got.
These are our choices.
The Tudor Dixon, when she worked at her daddy's steel foundry, we dug up some guys that got injured. And how do you dig up a guy that got injured, settled with him, signed a non-disclosure agreement, and yet the press found him? I'll tell you how the press found him. The private detectives working for the Democrats gave the press the dossier.
Of course.
Is the press going to do anything about Whitmer? What about the power?
Not yet. Yeah.
What about the nursing homes? What about the unemployment? What about the roads? There's so much to do. It's shit.
Mm-hmm. Nice choices.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now I got to get on Obamacare. reason I work at America.
Garbage.
You want to know what a good company this is?
Yeah.
They have good insurance for any employee that wants to be in on it.
Really?
Yes.
Hey.
Fantastic place. Now,
Are you
here's the
hired?
deal. Dana Nessel.
Oh boy.
Oh, is anybody in an election year gonna point out what a bozo this woman is? Larry Nasser, what's her name? Mary Lou Simon over there at Michigan.
Yeah.
They lost that
Michigan
case.
State, Yep.
Judge called that one a fraud.
What has she done?
You let the U.S. gymnastics coach turn himself in, but he made a little detour and blew his brains out on the freeway.
Yeah.
What? Line 5, oops. Mm-hmm. Oh, you supported the governor? Squashing the Constitution and you couldn't even, what?
She hasn't done anything.
But the big one's Flint.
Yeah.
The big one is Flint, and I'm here to tell you, Flint, you shall get no justice. The water got switched April 24, 2014. Write down September 6th, 2022. You shall get no justice. I'm just going to let this tape roll. This was filmed yesterday. This was the lead investigator before Nessel came in. Before Nessel was even nominated as the Democratic candidate for Attorney General, she was telling people, I'm going to fire the investigators, get rid of everything, and start over. Well, she started over and fucked the whole thing up. This is not in there. I'm going to tell you this. A couple of the emergency managers were charged, right, with a slew of things. They were cooperating.
Really?
They were going to start going up. These cases, these racketeering cases, this is mob shit.
Yeah.
They were cooperating. Then Nessel starts talking, and you know what they did?
Zipped it up.
I'm going to wait and see who wins this one here.
Wow.
Yeah. There'll be more on this, but I just want to give you Andy Arena. This is one of the most serious feds in America. Good one. Let's roll it.
Andy Arena, welcome, brother.
Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Put that mic close to your face there, man.
How's that?
Good.
All right.
Give me your titles real quick for the people that don't know who you are.
Sure. Currently the executive director of the Detroit Crime Commission. I teach law school at Cooley, former head of the FBI here in the state of Michigan.
Okay, and you were also the special investigator in the Flint water debacle.
Yes, I was for a period the lead investigator under then Attorney General Bill Schuette.
Okay, so you're here because, let history show the date, September 6th, 2022, the Supreme Court refused to hear an appeal by Attorney General Dana Nessel in the Flint water case. What is it they refused to hear?
Well, there's been a number of issues. Obviously, the Supreme Court dealt recently with the one-man grand jury issue and said unconstitutional.
A judge cannot be the judge, the jury, the executioner. You can investigate, but you can't charge.
Exactly. Right. And so kick the charges, the pending charges.
On everybody, the governor.
We're done.
I'm done.
We're done with those.
We're done with that.
But I think what was kind of lost in the shuffle, Charlie, was earlier the district court up in Genesee County had said, hey, look, you got potentially privileged information. You're taking all this evidence in from all over the place. And you may have attorney-client privilege. You may have executive privilege because you're dealing with the governor's office. You got to put this stuff in a kind of a special bowl, and you got to have what they call a taint team, or a separate team that's not affiliated with the case. Look at it, right? Determine, hey, is any of this stuff privileged?
Did we subpoena and gather up stuff that we weren't supposed to look at?
Exactly.
It's private communication between a client and the attorney, and if the prosecutor's looking at it, and that leads you to discover a crime, that you can't bring that into court.
Exactly. Or in some cases, the executive privilege, right? So you got the governor, you got the head executive of the state of Michigan dealing with his underlings, and some of that stuff might be privileged too. So all of this stuff, you got to take a look at it, make sure that it's not privileged, that you can actually look at it, that you can use it in your investigation and your charging documents. And if you don't do that, it could potentially taint all of that information that's in that pot, right? Also it could taint the prosecutors, the investigators working the case.
So what did the judge in Genesee County say that Nessel was challenging in the Supreme Court.
So the district court judge said, look, you got to have a team. You got to put this stuff, you got to separate this stuff. You got to look at it. The attorney general's argument was, hey, it's going to be a lot of money and it's going to take a lot of time. Those are maybe good arguments and not good legal arguments, right? The court doesn't care. So they challenged it in the Michigan Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals said, no, you got to have a taint team. They appealed it to the Supreme Court of the state of Michigan, and they're not even going to hear it. They said, no, that's a righteous decision.
So this is basically the Supreme Court refuses to even consider the case that the appellate courts decided, which is this. Hey, the case is done. Whatever evidence you have, whatever charges you came up with, that's out the window. Start completely over.
Yeah, I mean, basically, so the first Supreme Court decision, right, on the one-man grand jury said you can't use it. These charges are no good.
Right.
I'm not really sure what the new Flint Water team's position was. I think, reading between the lines, Charlie, I think they thought, okay, we'll take this evidence, we'll go back to the district court and maybe file a criminal complaint.
Yeah.
But that same judge already said, hey, this evidence might be tainted.
Like, I don't care who charging these defendants, the way you went about interpreting the evidence was illegal because we don't know.
Potentially yeah, to tainted everything.
So to start over.
Yeah, basically.
And anybody in Nessel's camp who worked on this case must recuse themselves. They can't work on it now because they might be tainted in their mind as the things they might have illegally seen.
Possibly. See, that's kind of the crux of this whole thing is, so did that potentially privileged information taint all that other evidence? And did it taint those investigators and prosecutors? Because as you just said, Charlie, they saw it, right? You can't burn that out of your memory. And so
there's no way to prove that you didn't. That you didn't see it. There's no way to prove it. Yeah, I had the documents. I never read it. Yeah. That's not an argument.
It's the old legal concept, the fruit of the poisonous tree, right? You eat that fruit, that fruit poisons all the other fruit on that tree.
I see.
Potentially. So, potentially here what you could have is basically starting all over again.
That's what you look. Let's not bore the audience. They want to. It's done. All intents and purposes, it's done because number one, you got to start over. That's going to take a couple of years. People's memories have faded. Then you're bumping into statute of limitations. Let me give the date. I believe the Flint Water was switched over on April 24, 2014. The Supreme Court refuses to hear Nessel's motion. September 6th, 2022. It's 8.5 years. Even statute of limitation on murder is what, 10?
Well, that's probably the biggest issue you got, Charlie, is the statute of limitation, right? And you just mentioned memories fade. That's all true, but you're really up against the bumper here, right? It's going to be really, really difficult to go out, gather that information, potentially having to bring a whole new team in to investigate. It's going to be really difficult.
It's over, right? I mean,
for all intents and purposes, it's going to be really difficult. And I say,
Andy,
who loses? The people.
Andy, we got a lot of people listen to this program in Flint. I mean, a lot. A lot of people just gave up on him and dropped it. We never did. As you know, you've been on the program many times. I think they're looking for, it's over now. They're looking for an honest appraisal of what's happened. And now that it's done, I think you can say the case is done.
People of Flint have gotten screwed over and over and over. This is just probably the last time.
It's the last time. That's the headline here. It's no more. Since it's over, and remember, you're the head of the FBI. You were the head of the FBI in New York. You were the head of the FBI in Ohio. You took down Trafficant, the crew. I mean, you got a long history of this. How fucked up was the way that Nessel handled this? And it's not anything personal with me. It's public policy. Yeah. How bad was this?
Well, I think it's a lack of experience in dealing with these types of cases, Charlie. You just kind of went through my background. These are cases that we deal with. No offense to anybody involved in this. State and local prosecutors don't usually deal with these intricate complex types of investigations, right? So to me, it's 101. It's law. It's federal law 101, man. if you got potentially tricky information there, evidence coming in that might be privileged, you're better off erring on the side of, hey, let's segregate this stuff and make sure, right? So you're seeing what's going on down with the Mar-a-Lago search, right?
With Trump.
That's exactly. So you see what the Department of Justice and the FBI did with that.
Special
right?
master.
Yeah. So what they did was they took the evidence. They said, okay, we're going to put it here. We're going to have a taint team look at it. Right now, the judges said that's not enough. It's this is an extraordinary case, so we're going to have a special master come in and look at it. But the bottom line is, Shirley, that's what they're looking at. You're having what we call a taint team look to make sure this stuff is not privileged and it doesn't taint any of the other evidence.
Now let's go. Even in the Mar-a-Lago case.
So for Charlie, from day one, that's how it should have been handled.
In the Mar-a-Lago, that's how you guys handled it.
Yes.
Right? And here comes old candidate Nessel calling you guys political stooges and milking the system for money, and you're Republicans and you're not really getting anywhere. And before she's even the nominee, she's talking about firing you, starting over, and that she could do a better job. Well, I think we have our answer now, because nobody's spent a day in jail, have they?
No, and I don't think anybody will. I mean, justice, the people of the city of Flint, they're not getting justice.
No, that's on the criminal side.
On the criminal side.
That's just for people dying from legionnaires.
Lead poisoning.
And your part of it was the financial crimes. I mean, you had a racketeering case going, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what we were looking at, Charlie. I mean, I think there was some issues, what we felt to be security fraud issues, some potential corruption issues up there to pay to play, stuff that people here in Detroit are very familiar with. Mm-hmm. It walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. That's kind of what we were looking at.
How close were you?
I think we were probably within 6 months.
Fuck. Wow, Mark. 6 months.
Yeah. Well, she chose to delay it.
So
she chose to throw it all over.
You would have brought your schematic and what you found and charges. 6 months. You were let go, what, 2 months into her term?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means by
probably late summer
of 2019. And we're now in the late summer of 2022 with no justice. And all of these fucking creeps, bro. The people that put it together, I'm not going to name names. It's over now, but I think we know. They all walking around.
They failed upward. Some of them.
They did.
And for some of these guys, Charlie, it wasn't their first rodeo, right? They've been around. They've done this before. They'll do it again.
Some of them have actually been FBI informants on other cases.
They'll do it again.
See, that breaks my heart. That breaks my heart. But listen, on behalf of Flint, because I know your reputation in Flint from the people, we want to thank you for at least the professional, very good hard work you did. It's sad that it ends up this way. And last thing, I do find it amazing that we're in an election year. And this isn't even being brought up. Detroit News, to their credit, has a story. And nobody. This is germane as to what your Attorney General is capable of doing. Can you hold the office? I mean, are you going to politicize it? And unfortunately, on the other side, you got another dope. So we got two dopes. And I'm wondering, who in the Communist Party is running for Attorney General, because I'm giving them a second look.
Charlie, I don't know that anybody cares anymore, right? Vice did a piece on it. You followed it. It doesn't seem to get any traction, right? Nobody really cares.
But it was the story for globally for at least a month.
It was a flavor of the month for a long time, and then a prettier girl came along, and they go off and follow that, and that's a shame.
That's the system, drag your feet. Like I can see in Detroit with some things going on that I've been involved with. You drag your feet, statute of limitations is done, people get bored. Maybe some governmental entity comes in and slaps you with a fine, and off we go to have a steak in Bordeaux.
Yeah, we have the attention span of a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Something else grabs my attention, I'm off.
Fight the power, right? Right? Say it, FBI. Say it, G-Man. Fight the power. Go ahead. Say it, G-Man. Go ahead. I mean, in the right way.
I've always done it, Charlie, in my own way.
What is it you've done?
My own way.
What do you mean? What is it you've done?
Make sure the truth gets out there, right?
You mean fight the power?
The power.
Come on. Can you give me a little?
Words can't come out.
Give me a little fight the power.
It can't come out, Charlie.
It's too loaded, is it? Thank you, Andy.
Thank you,
Sandy
as
Arena.
always.
Yeah, my man.
It's a good piece, Charlie.
Well, Karen, it's sad to me.
I mean,
I
that's
don't know.
crazy.
I guess for me, and believe me, you know, I got loved ones in Flint. But just for me personally, I'm sorry, Flint, to do it this way, but I don't think I ever tried harder. I'm not the kind of guy that's got boxes of documents in his basement, but this one I did. And I don't know what to say, Karen. You know, the reason I like partnering with you is the sweep that you have, that you know, you're of the people, and that you love them, and that you're able to lift yourself, and then you give back, and giving yourself the public, and you ask Paul, what do we do? And what do we do?
I don't know, Charlie. I really wish, you know, I can only guess that when we start to realize that our true power is only true and effective when it's collective, and that we start to exert that power, that social, political, economic leverage that we do have, but only if we use it together. Because otherwise, all we're doing is just jumping from thing to thing. Just like Andy said, you know, whatever the flavor of the month is, we're being dragged. I mean, and the people in Flint deserved better. I mean, that to me was a slap in the face for anybody that has ever stood for any degree of justice, just from a humanitarian standpoint. That's unacceptable. All of this is unacceptable. And why do we keep accepting it?
I don't know. This is a mass crime. That was gangster shit, and they all are walking around, and we can't
they did nothing wrong.
We can't figure out how to like each other. We don't have to like each other. Can we just get together a little bit? It's common interest.
Charlie, it's about respect. I mean, it's about respect, and it's about respect for other humans, just as from like I said, from a humanitarian standpoint. You don't have to like people. You don't have to look like them. You don't have to live like them. You don't have to love like they do. But God bless it. At some point, you know, just I don't get it. I really just don't get it, and I just don't get that we think that it's okay enough to just, you know, we accept it and we keep going and we complain about it and we allow ourselves to not be told what's really going on. We don't demand better. We reelect the same people who have proven themselves to be ineffective and unconcerned with our best interest. And we just turn the page and keep going.
Well, then, for anybody that gives a shit, just keep trying. I'm going to go home now.